Less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. Here we are. It's time to get serious. It's time to do a 4 round Superflex rookie mock draft on Sleeper, which will be pretty much exactly where I would draft these guys without landing spots. So if you're doing a rookie draft before the NFL draft, if you're one of those sickos, this is going to be the perfect stream for you. And if you don't draft your rookies before the NFL draft, it's going to be a good stream for you because I'm basically giving away my rookie rankings. So everybody can just trash my rookie rankings in the chat, which is the purpose of rankings, so people can be upset with the rankings. So there you go. Have fun. So here we go. I mean, we're gonna try to fly through this, okay? I'll try to be as detailed as I can be, but Ashton Genty is still the 101. And quite frankly, I still don't think it's much of a discussion. You can tell me what you think in the comments. I think he's probably going top 10, top 15 at worst. And there are a lot of good there's a lot of good landing spots that we like. The Raiders, potentially the Bears, maybe the Cowboys if he slips a little bit. So Ashton Genty's number 1 for me, and the fact that I don't like any of the quarterbacks really in this class. And some of you are really going to hate where I take Cam Ward. I've gone back and forth on this next pick, but I think Tedero McMillan in this class that's not super deep at wide receiver. There are some intriguing names. I'm a little bit higher on the wide receivers than most people are, so which is going to be evidenced by some of the picks that are made later on. But Tedero McMillan at the 1-2, I think, is the pick because of the upside. Again, you could crash and burn with this, but I feel, and again, I've gone back and forth on this, but I feel fairly confident in the Tedero McMillan pick here at the 1-2. Now at the 1-3, I think it's got to be Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton is still my RB2, despite some people coming out and not having him in their top 5. Some people moved him all the way down to 10. I don't see that. I think he's clearly a top 5 running back. Obviously, I have him as my RB2. You just don't get many running backs that look like Omarion Hampton, that produce the way Omarion Hampton produced. So I'm not going to overthink it. Omarion Hampton at the 1-3. Now this is probably where it gets controversial, maybe for some of you, but Trevion Henderson is my RB3, and he's a player that I thought about moving him ahead of Omarion Hampton. That's how much I like him. Trevion Henderson, I think, would be the perfect fit for my Chicago Bears. I think he's better than DeAndre Swift, and I think he would fill that role better in a Ben Johnson offense. I think he's the perfect fit for a Ben Johnson scheme. That's what I'm hoping for on draft night. Trevion Henderson at the 1-4 for me. And this is another player coming up next that I've also wavered on. But the way I set my rankings, I'm shooting for the moon here with Caleb Johnson. If Caleb Johnson hits, he's going to hit real big. I think he's a phenomenal prospect. There were times where Iowa opened up those running lanes for him to run through, but he ran through them, and I think he's faster than his 4.58 40-yard dash that he ran at the combine. So Caleb Johnson for me at the 1-5. And we're just going to keep on going down the running back pathway. And, because I think that's what we're talking about here. When there's a strength in the class, I think you need to lean into it. And Quinshon Judkins, for me, is my RB5. I love his game. Now, he's not a burner, even though he ran a 4.48 at the NFL Combine. But he is still an amazing running back prospect that I think is absolutely worth taking in the top half of the first round. So as you can see, I'm very high on the running backs. I haven't taken a quarterback yet. And if you're wondering if I'm going to take a quarterback with this pick, you're going to be disappointed. Emeka Egbuka, we started at the Dynasty Roundtable, which, by the way, subscribe to this channel if you're liking it. Go subscribe to the Dynasty Roundtable YouTube channel as well. Myself and Matt Babich, we started with Emeka Egbuka as the wide receiver 2, and I've come all the way back to Emeka Egbuka being the wide receiver 2 in this class. I think I started off by saying that he's a safe pick. I think he's a safe pick with a ton of upside. And I would almost go as far to say that he has as much upside as Luther Burden. Like, if you look at the player card here, you're going to see the size we like. The profile is really good as well. Just a tremendous prospect at the wide receiver position in a class that quite frankly, doesn't have some of these elite prospects. So I thought about moving this next guy up as my wide receiver too. But and the rumors are, at least what I'm reading and hearing, that Travis Hunter is rumored that the Browns are interested in him at number 2. They view him as a wide receiver. And if that happens, he's probably going to move up even further on my list, because I've maintained this. I've been steady about this since November. If Travis Hunter were a full-time wide receiver, he would be in contention for the 101, even ahead of Ashton Jeanty. Now, he'd probably fall in for me at the 102, ahead of Tedero McMillan. That's how good I think he is, and I still believe that. So if he gets drafted number 2 overall to the Browns and they say he's a wide receiver, yeah, I think I would move him up to the 102. I don't know if they're going to say that until week 1 of the NFL season, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. But Travis Hunter, for me, he fell down. Now he's back up in the middle of the first round. I think that's where he belongs right now. At the 109, we will put Luther Burden up here. Burden is interesting. I like him a lot. I think I like him a little bit better than my co-host on the Dynasty Roundtable, Matt Babich, does. I think a really good comp for him is Jalen Waddle, and some people are going to scoff at that and go, well, that's not very good. Well, Jalen Waddle was a really good prospect coming out of college, and Luther Burden here at 9, I think you're getting a steal on a guy that would have gone much higher in another year. Now, we're going to put a quarterback up there. Cam Ward, I think this is where I would take him. Now, it's not that I hate Cam Ward. It's not that I'm not saying, the number 1 pick doesn't have value in a super flex league. I'm not saying any of that. I just don't like the prospect as much as some other people, and I'm not willing to take a chance on him, early in the first round. That's just where I sit on it. Now, if I need a quarterback and he's sitting there at the 106, 107, would I consider it? Probably. But I just don't see it with Cam Ward. I like a lot of what he can do. Something tells me, he's closer to Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, where he's going to be serviceable maybe for 2 to 3 to 4 seasons. Maybe he bounces around after that. But it just doesn't seem like Tennessee is a situation, if that's who ends up drafting him, that would be able to help elevate a quarterback that, quite frankly, is going to be thrown right in there right away, and I don't know if he's ready for that. So let me know what you think in the comments. At the 111, we are going to put up Matthew Golden, and I thought about moving Matthew Golden up higher, but I'm going to stick to my guns here and say that Golden is still not better than any of my top 4 wide receivers there. He's a top 5 wide receiver, not a top 4 wide receiver. I like a lot of what I've seen on tape. I think he puts up good tape. It's just not a lot of it. He kind of, he came on late in the season, and that's, I just wish I would have saw more of it than he showed. And that's kind of where I sit on him. I like him a lot as a prospect. I'm taking him here in the first round. I'm just not willing to push him above some of these other wide receivers and not above the quarterback 1 for me on the board, which is Cam Ward. Now we're going to put up the tight end 1 of my class, which is Tyler Warren, to round out round 1. Tyler Warren's a beast. I believe that. Now I'm a little bit down on this tight end class as a whole, because I'm not seeing the whatever everybody else is seeing. I don't know what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but I think there's a Brock Bowers effect at play here. I do. I don't think any of these tight ends are Brock Bowers. I don't even know if any of these tight ends are Trey McBride, to be honest with you. I think they're good, not great. which is why Tyler Warren's not any higher for me. Now, if he gets the draft capital, do I acknowledge that perhaps in some of those tight end premium, ultra tight end premium, so this would be tight end premium rankings here. Now, I play in some leagues where you get 2 points per tight end catch. Obviously, he's going to be elevated in those formats. But in general, my strategy, and this ties into it as well, my strategy in Dynasty is I don't really draft tight ends very highly. I mean, if I don't get one of the top two options, I kind of am just going to piece together the tight end position, you know? Same goes true with running back most of the time. You know, I think running back and tight end are kind of the cherries on top of the dynasty sundae. I think you should be focused on quarterback and wide receiver in Superflex. That's just how I roll, and that's reflected in my rankings here. We're moving on to the second round. We're making pretty decent time here. And I think a wide receiver that some people have pushed down, I'm not sure why he's being pushed down as much as he is. Some people really like him, other people don't. It's Trey Harris. And Trey Harris, for me, is going to be my first pick here in the second round. Now, I know the Ole Miss thing, you know, Lane Kiffin designs is one of the better play designers in college football. And there's the stigma behind it. The Jonathan Mingo, you know, stigma is recent and it's fresh, and I think it's recency bias, quite frankly. I think Trey Harris is a better prospect than Jonathan Mingo, and I think, you know, if he gets round 2, round 3 draft capital, which is very possible, and he goes to the right situation, you might see him leap somebody like Matthew Golden. I know that kind of sounds sacrilegious to say, considering some people are thinking and saying, especially after the combine, Matthew Golden, number 1 wide receiver off the board. Man, if that happens, okay. I don't get it, but whatever. The NFL is going to tell us, but we'll see. We will now move to the other tight end that I have. And again, it's not that I don't like these tight ends, okay? I like them. I just don't love them. So Colston Loveland, no pun intended there. Wasn't trying a Loveland love pun there or whatever. But Colston Loveland, you know, he produced at Michigan. He's a solid prospect. I saw some people have him over Tyler Warren. I can't go that far, but I do like him. I mean, he's just 2 spots down in my rankings here. So Colston Loveland at the 2-2. Now let's throw up my quarterback 2. And no, it's not Shedeur Sanders. It's Jackson Dart. I think it's preposterous that PFF has Jackson Dart ranked so low on their website. I think if I were an NFL team and like the Jets or the Saints or one of these other teams, I don't know if this is true or not, but I get the sense that if you want Jackson Dart, I don't know if you're going to have to take him in the top 10, but you're probably going to have to trade back into the first round to get him. I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't know 100% for sure, but Jackson Dart would be the quarterback prospect that I would be trying to get up there to take at the back end of the first round. That's what I would be trying to do, because I think this guy has all the traits. I think he has some work to do, but man, he's the quarterback in this class. I really wanted to put him up above Cam Ward, but I don't know if that would have been responsible of me or not. Maybe later in my fantasy career, you know, once I have a lot more subscribers and, you know, maybe a few years down the road, I'll feel bold and start making some of these bold calls. Now, some people might say Jackson Dart ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Man, that's bold. I don't know. I don't really think so. But again, as with anything that I put on this channel, let me know what you think in the comments. We can have a good discussion around these rookies. I really believe it to be true. I've had multiple good conversations with y'all. We're good. Like, I think this is going really well. So again, let me know what you think in the comments. Even if it's that redheaded, ginger, bearded, you know, guy, paler than a newborn fish, can't pick prospects. Okay, I'll take any comments I can get. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Moving on to the 2-4, we have one of my favorite wide receiver prospects in this draft, Jalen Noel. Close between him and Higgins, which Higgins is actually my next pick, so I'm just going to throw Higgins up at the 2-5. So Higgins is a little bit bigger, kind of reminds me of Michael Pittman in a lot of ways. Jalen Noel reminds me, and this is going to scare some people, kind of reminds me of this year's Roman Wilson, just kind of the trajectory, and you look at the stats. But I think Roman Wilson, it could have been, I mean, we could be living in a different world, a different universe, a different reality with Roman Wilson. And Roman Wilson actually is somebody that I'm intrigued by. And I know he's still in Pittsburgh, and I know DK Metcalf's there. But these two wide receivers from Iowa State, I think, are the real deal. And that's reflected here. I mean, early in the second round, middle of the second round, I think is about where they belong. And I think they're going to get the draft capital. I think they're going to both go in round 2. I think they're both very, very talented. Now, middle of the second round, I'm not going to get him here, but Shedeur Sanders, I'm going to throw him up here. He's my quarterback 3. Begrudgingly, I don't really like Shedeur Sanders. I think he's an average prospect at the quarterback position. Some teams probably going to take him in the top 10, and I think that would be a mistake. I would take Jackson Dart over him if given the choice, but hey, I'm not an NFL executive. I'm not a GM, so we'll see. We'll see what happens on draft night. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Now it's going to get real interesting with some of these names here, but I'm going to throw up Dylan Sampson up next. Dylan Sampson is my RB6. As you can see, we go quite a ways. We start heavy with the running backs, but then we go a minute without putting another one up there. But don't worry, because there's going to be a ton of running backs that are just going to be flying off this board. Dylan Sampson fits the mold of an undersized pass-catching running back who was super productive in his final year at Tennessee. I think he's elusive. I think he's just really agile and just a really good runner. For me, he's my RB6. I thought about moving him higher. I really like him. Devin Neal. I know some people have lost hope or lost faith in Devin Neal after the combine. He ran slower than a lot of people thought he might run, but he's still one of my favorite running back prospects in this class. He's patient. He reminds me a little bit of Le'Veon Bell, the way that his patient running style. He produced in 3 consecutive seasons at Kansas. Very, very good prospect. And now we're going to move to Brashard Smith, a name that everybody should have down as we enter the NFL draft. Now, he might not get taken. This might be me putting the cart before the horse, because I might not need to do this, but these are my rankings. This is where I have people, so I have to be honest with y'all. Brashard Smith is a really good prospect. We've been saying it since Matt Babich brought him up in December. He's this year's Tyrone Tracy Jr. If you're looking for a rookie sleeper, now nobody's going to have him ranked this high. I think according to ECR Fantasy Pros, they had him as their RB16. I think that's what Debro told us when he was on the air, and I haven't checked it since, to be honest with you. But this is a guy that we're going to be much, much higher on than consensus, and I think is going to get drafted probably day 3. But if he winds up in a situation like Tyrone Tracy did, where he has a pathway to opportunity, look out. Just saying, he's really good. And another running back that's really, really good is Bashul Tutin. And throughout the process, I know he has some fumbling issues, but man, round 3 to Kansas City just feels right. They need a spark in the running back room. They compare him with Isaiah Pacheco, who is coming off of an injury, who I do think is a good dynasty buy. But if they pair him with Bashul Tutin, I mean, you think about all the nitrous oxide. What am I trying to say? The NOS, the noctane. I don't know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of firepower. That's a cliche I was trying to avoid in the Kansas City offense. If they had this guy, Bashul Tutin, I mean, we all know what he did at the combine in terms of the 40. So yeah, but I think he's a much better running back prospect than just the speed. I really do. So let's keep on moving. More running backs coming at you. Cam Scatterbo's up next. This running back class is amazing. I really do think that's the case, especially when Cam Scatterbo is this far down. I mean, Cam Scatterbo's amazing. Like, you just turn on the tape. He reminds me so much of David Montgomery. That's my comp for him. I think he's really good. I know he doesn't have the speed. I think he ran a 4.65 as pro day. So if you want to put it up a little bit, maybe closer to 4.7 because of the quick thumb, I understand. But Cam Scatabo is just a solid running back, and I think he's going to be productive in the NFL. RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey has risen up maybe more than any other player, and he's in some people's top five. Now I can't do that because I'm not trying to manufacture hot takes here. This is how I actually feel. So I mean, if this falls in line with the public, with consensus, I don't know. I think some of the things that I'm doing here do not do that. Jackson Dart, for example. So, but RJ Harvey, impressive prospect. I just can't good conscious put him ahead of Samson, Neal, Brashard Smith, Tootin, Scatabo. I think this is about where he winds up, to be honest, unless he gets just insane draft capital. So we're through 2 rounds. We're flying. We're going at the good speed that I wanted to go at. The next player, wide receiver prospects that I just absolutely love. And these guys are 2 different players, but Alec Manor made Travis Hunter look silly at Stanford, and he put together a really good body of work. Now, he's bigger, he's faster, but he does need to improve his technical route running ability. But if he does that, man, I think this guy's got all the upside in the world. And if you're able to nab him in the 3rd round, I think he's probably going to go a little bit later. I just a hunch. I don't know if he's going to get drafted in day 2. I mean, I think he should be drafted in day 2. And if he goes to a landing spot like the Bills or the Falcons, or like if he gets the nuts landing spot, I think he could be pushed higher. But I think 3rd round is about where he's going to go because of where some of these running backs land. And Jack Besh is up next for me. Besh is just a really good football player. It's plain and simple. At the end of the day, just if you just boiled it down to, we just want to take good football players. It's that simple. And Jack Besh is a really good football player, and he's shown that. All you got to do is turn on the film at TCU, at LSU before that. Just a solid football player. And we are going to go to the running back. Back to the running back position. Had to check my notes. DJ Giddens. Man, this is a guy, if he falls to round 3, I'll be taking him here all day. Very productive at Kansas State. Showed out at the NFL Combine. I like a lot of what I see from DJ Giddens. At the 3-4, let's see, we're flying now. I don't really understand the hate. I've moved him down my rankings, and maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have given in to peer pressure, but Jordan James, for me, is somebody that I keep coming back to and going, I don't understand why everybody seems to be so down on this guy, because if you pull up what he was able to do in college, and I don't know if you remember what happened, or who Jordan James was playing with in 2023. I think it was this guy named Bucky Irving. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bucky Irving. I think he's pretty good. 2023, Jordan James, 759 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns. Last season in 2024, over 1,200 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns at Oregon in the Big Ten, 5.4 yards per carry. That's really solid production. He has the size we're looking for. He has the pass catching chops that we're looking for. 26 receptions this year. I think he's a really solid player that's going to fall way too far down the... I mean, you should see my exposure on Underdog. I have him in just about... I was getting him in the last round of drafts in these early best ball leagues, and I just kept clicking the button. And it wasn't even because I love Jordan James. It's just because, I mean, why are we letting this guy fall so far? I don't know. There's one quarterback prospect in this draft class that I think could really impact fantasy, and that's Jalen Milroe. I probably should have him ranked higher now that I'm doing this. But that's what happens when you do these videos, just full transparency, at least for me, because I'm not going to pretend like, I'm just the all-knowing God of everything like some other people do. I will admit to you that sometimes I do these videos, especially when you're doing, what is this, a top 48 rookie rankings, essentially, a 4-round rookie draft. Sometimes you do these things and you go, I made a mistake. I'm not a perfect person. Shocker. But Jalen Milroe, could be that guy. I'm not a big fan, and that's reflected here in the third round, but he has some upside. If I mean, it's very possible he could wind up like the best case scenario for him would be is if he goes to a situation where he can sit and he can learn and similar to Patrick Mahomes. Now he's not Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes got to sit a year with Andy Reid with Alex Smith as the starting quarterback. If he doesn't get that, like if he's just thrusted into a starting role, I mean, it might not have been such a seamless transition. Now, obviously, he would have been successful, but and again, I'm not comparing Jalen Milroe to Patrick Mahomes. I'm not trying to do that. He's not even close to the kind of prospect that Patrick Mahomes was, but he does have some upside. Just saying, like third round feels pretty good. Like I would feel good about clicking the button here, and I might have to raise him up a little bit. Jalen Royals, again, another big old upside swing here in the third round. Jalen Royals has the size that we like, has the athleticism that we like. I mean, just go to some of his games. I mean, I would challenge you if you haven't heard of Jalen Royals, and I know a lot of you are like, of course I know about Jalen Royals. Just go to his game log. I mean, against Boise State, 9 catches for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns this past season. Now he is coming off of an injury, but man, I mean, just think of if he would have stayed healthy for the entire season. 10 catches, 112 yards, 1 touchdown against Temple. Against the University of New Mexico, 11 catches, 188 yards, and a touchdown. And again, he had Spencer Petras at quarterback, guys. I remember Spencer Petras at Iowa. Spencer Petras is terrible, okay? And 55 catches, 834 yards, 6 touchdowns in 7 games. That's stupid. I mean, this guy at 6 feet tall, 205 pounds. So he's in that sweet spot of size, height, and weight. And he's athletic. I mean, he has to clean some stuff up. He's not like a Emeka Egbuka polished wide receiver prospect, but he's athletic. I mean, he's super athletic, and he was super productive. So he feels like a steal. It really does. Ollie Gordon, I'm going to throw him up. I think Ollie Gordon is a lot better than people give him credit for. And again, he's probably one of these players that I should have a little bit higher. I mean, there are just so many guys I like in this class. I think this class is really, really good. And I think you're going to want pieces of it. So all these I mean, you're kind of seeing it here. Like all these guys, I mean, Jordan James, DJ Giddens, Jalen Milroe. I mean, Ollie Gordon, Jack Besh. This is why I'm trying to scoop up as many of these third round picks as possible because I want to take multiple shots on these guys. And Ollie Gordon, very similar to Chuba Hubbard, who I've talked about, like very similar career path. Like he just kind of disappointed in his final year, and the steam kind of came off of him. But when you look at what he was able to accomplish, I mean, some people are, and me included, just to be very honest, me included, giving Luther Burden a pass. Ollie Gordon, 6'2", 225 pounds, at least according to ESPN, 1,700 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns, caught 39 passes in 2023. Just a stupid level of production. And you're getting him in round 3, probably late round 2. It seems like a good deal. All right, I'm going to throw up another tight end. Mason Taylor is my tight end 3 in this class. Yes, tight end 3. I like his game. I like what he was able to do at LSU. I think he's a solid tight end prospect. I think he offers some upside as well. So not much else to say. I like him. I don't love him. Clearly, I don't have him higher. And some of you might be losing your minds, like, where's Harold Fannin Jr.? Where is he? And I got news for you. I'm not the biggest fan, but that could be one that bites me in the ass. But we'll see. We'll see where we have Harold Fannin Jr. So I know some of you are gonna dunk on this, but I have Xavier Restrepo here. I think the hate has gone too far, and I know Ha ha ha. He's still running his 40. He. Oh, dunk. Dunk on him. Xavier Restrepo. He's not that fast. I think what I saw on film was he was a lot faster than a 4.8 40, okay? And I trust the film a hell of a lot more than I trust, one day where you're running the 40. This is why I think the NFL Combine is, mostly stupid. I think it has some value, but like, put on the tape. Were you good on Saturdays? Were you good on the field? That's what matters to me. And I think, Xavier Restrepo belongs here. He doesn't deserve to fall all the way down your rankings because of a bad 40 time. I think that's just a fundamental mistake some people make. Now I have Taj Brooks up next. We're really getting into an area that I really like in this draft. Taj Brooks, just a solid player. You look at what he did at Texas Tech, especially the past 2 years, over 1,500 rushing yards, proved to be a effective pass catcher out of the backfield, and he wasn't a liability in pass protection either. He was pretty good. If you look at PFF's grade, I believe it was 65, just 65.7, just going off the top of my head. So again, just an overall solid running back that I think could find a pathway to some opportunity sooner rather than later. Let's keep rolling, shall we? Ty Felton. Ty Felton's slowly becoming one of my favorite rookie sleepers because of what he was able to do at Maryland with horrible quarterback play in the Big Ten, over 1,100 receiving yards this past season. Now, he's not one of these players that broke out right away. He didn't do that, but when you just look at the profile, the 4.37 40, he's a little bit undersized. Like he weighs 180-ish, 185, 186 at 6 feet 2. So he's a little bit longer. Not quite the prototypical, Jalen Royals, 6 feet, 200 pounds. That seems to be the size where, a lot of these wide receivers hit. But, still a lot to like with Ty Felton. And we're going to round out round 3 with another tight end. My tight end 4 in this class, Terrence Ferguson. I think I honestly thought about putting him ahead of Mason Taylor, but I couldn't get there. Terrence Ferguson, solid, athletic tight end. Again, one of my favorite sleepers at the tight end position from the University of Oregon. We're going to kick things off round 4 with a running back. And man, Damian Martinez, how did I let him fall this far? I don't know. I think Damian Martinez is not going to fall this far in your rookie drafts, but if he does, you should scoop him up. I like a lot from what I've seen on tape. University of Miami, bigger guy, back-to-back seasons, over 1,000 rushing yards. Now, he didn't meet the pass-catching thresholds that we like to see. 11 receptions in 2023, 17 in 2024. But still, very productive runner. Falls a little bit for me in this exercise just because of that lack of pass catching, but still a very, very solid player. Now, we're going to put up Harold Fannin right now, and I'm just going to say, I know I'm going to catch some heat for this, but Harold Fannin, I'm not as high on this tight end class as some people, and Harold Fannin, I think there's a real chance that he goes outside of day 2. I really do. And again, he put up an impressive season at Bowling Green. The athletic testing, the tape left me wanting more, if I'm being perfectly honest. And just let me know what you think in the comments. I am not necessarily the biggest Harold Fannin Jr. fan in the world, as evidenced by this ranking here. So we will be moving on. This is where I have Isaiah Bond. Now, Isaiah Bond, I've lowered him because I didn't know what else to do with him. I don't know if that's fair or not. He maintains that he is innocent, and if you've not heard, Isaiah Bond arrested on charges of sexual assault. He maintains his innocence. There's a process that's going to play out, and we will see what happens. I don't know how long it's going to take. The details are unclear at this point. So again, I've lowered Isaiah Bond in my rankings because of that. He would obviously be much higher if that didn't happen. Here's one of my favorite tight end prospects, Oronde Gadsden, the second from Syracuse. You look at what he was able to do, especially in his sophomore season, over 900 receiving yards, had the Liz Frank injury in 2023, which set him back, but then he came back strong the next season. Now, athletically, he's not going to blow you away, but he's not a liability in the pass protection and the run blocking game. He can get open down the field. He was PFF's number 4 tight end in receiving grade. I think he's very underrated. I thought about moving him ahead of Harold Fannin. Couldn't quite get there. But I do like the upside. I think he's somebody that nobody's talking about. Like, everybody knows who Harold Fannin Jr. is. Not too many people are talking about Oronde Gadsden, which is why I like him. Like Harold Fannin at value, me not a fan. Oronde Gadsden at value, I like it. So let's keep on chucking. Marcus Yarns is up next for me. I like Marcus Yarns quite a bit. Now, I know some people are going to say you can't be a good running back at a small school. It's impossible. How can you be a good running back if you play, against St. Francis? Like, how can you actually showcase that you're good? And it's, logically speaking, those people are stupid, because we've seen plenty of good running backs come from small schools, and Marcus Yarns could be the next guy that you draft in round 4 and you're happy that you did. And I think a lot of people are going to point to Dylan Lobby last year coming from New Hampshire going, yeah, well, that didn't work out. Well, that doesn't mean you stop taking chances on these guys. I mean, seriously, some people just need to be better, like in the comments section. Marcus Yarns is a solid prospect. And, he's in round 4. Now, he's in round 4 for a reason, because we have a good running back class, because this class overall is pretty strong, especially at running back, and I think at wide receiver. So he's down here. You're going to be able to get him in the 4th, 5th round of rookie drafts. He's going to get drafted on day 3. So I think it's a good upside swing to take. And again, I don't think like I said, I don't think we've ever seen a running back succeed at a small school, have we? That's so stupid. All right. Dylan Gabriel is my quarterback 5. And again, one of my favorite quarterback sleepers that I'm gonna have him probably in just about every league, especially if he gets drafted later. And who knows where he's probably going to go on day 3 if I had to imagine. But if I were an NFL franchise and I missed out, obviously I'm going to miss out on Cam Ward. If I miss out on Jackson Dart, if I don't get the trade up into the 1st round that I want, Dylan Gabriel in round 4, that would be the direction that I would turn, and bring in a quarterback prospect like that who is super productive in college. Even going back to his freshman year at UCF, he was still very good. The completion percentage wasn't quite what we would want, but he was still very effective. I mean, you could do worse. And again, we've never seen an undersized quarterback succeed at the NFL level before, especially one with a weaker arm. We've never seen that, have we? I think Dylan Gabriel throws with anticipation. I think he's really good. Shout out to John Lobb for turning me on to Dylan Gabriel. Let's go to Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue, again, fits the mold of one of these running backs that we've seen produce. Like, he kind of reminds me of Keaton Mitchell. Now, there's an alternative universe where Keaton Mitchell hits in Baltimore if he doesn't get hurt. Now, I get it. He's undersized, so the chances of him getting hurt go up. I get it. I understand. But Jaden Blue is electric. Jaden Blue can catch passes. He caught 42 passes this year, and he was at Texas, so he was blocked by some pretty good running backs. So that all factors in, but I really like the upside, especially, when you're getting him here. He's a guy that, I probably should, I'd have to think about moving him up. Trevor Etienne is up next for me. He's a little bit undersized. He weighed in at under 200 pounds at the NFL Combine. 4.42 speed. We like to see that. And there's a lot to like. He's definitely somebody that's on my radar to take a chance on here in round 4. As the process has gone on, Woody Marks is definitely somebody that has been on my radar. I've had him about here. I mean, he's kind of stayed very similar. I just think he's former 4-star recruit. I just think he's pretty solid, and you could do a lot worse here. And the 3rd, 4th round is where I'm trying to scoop up a lot of these running backs that kind of slip through the cracks. In other years, these running backs would be a lot higher. So Jarquez Hunter is up next. And again, I'm just throwing up a lot of these running backs here. Jarquez Hunter, whoops, I hit an emoji thing there. From Auburn. If you look at just the productivity, Jarquez Hunter produced, 900 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Not quite the threshold in that season in 2023 that we'd like to see for receptions out of the backfield. 18, we'd like to see 20, but again, that's splitting hairs. But he was overall a productive running back in the SEC, 5'10", about 209, 210. Good size, good speed, pass catching ability. Could do a whole lot worse than him in the 4th round. And we have a couple of other just eye-popping prospects here to cover. Torrey Horton from Colorado State. You could argue I should have him higher. There's a lot of these players that I wish I could put higher, but unfortunately there's only so many places to put them. Torrey Horton in 2023 at Colorado State. Now, he got hurt this past year, but let me just bring this up real quick because I just want to get the stats exactly right. Now, Torrey Horton has some work to do with his, route running. The technical side, I think he has some work to do. So Torrey Horton in 2023 at Colorado State, heck, in 2022, 1,100 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. 2023, 1,100 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. Now, he got hurt this year, but the production before this season was extremely good. And even going back to Nevada, it wasn't that bad. 659 receiving yards in 2021 as a sophomore, 5 touchdowns as a freshman. Torrey Horton, man, I'm telling you. And I'm going to make some people mad. I don't have Elijah Arroyo in my top 48. Who else? I don't have Tyler Shuck in my top 48. Here's another player I don't have in my top 48 that some people that I should have there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The top 48, Kyle Williams, that's the guy. I don't have Kyle Williams in my top 48. I might make some people mad there, but hey, what you gonna do? I think consensus, he's clearly in there. Savion Williams, and again, like, this dude is a freak, man. Savion Williams, really, I think, again, you can make an argument I should have this guy higher. But yeah, this is where we got him right now. For TCU, kind of a gadgety guy, and I'm not saying that to make offense. I'm saying that like an NFL team could utilize him very much like a Deebo Samuel type player. All right, we did it. Top 48. I probably messed up somewhere. You'll let me know what I did and how I messed up and how bad I messed up. You can also let me know what you liked about the mock draft. We're going to be doing one more of these before the actual NFL draft kicks off. I think I'm going to try to have landing spots next time. Heck, we might even have a guest. Who knows? But you'll have to tune in to find out. You'll have to click the like button because you want to be a good person and help me out. Subscribe to the channel, and you just click the like button because you liked it. Subscribe if you like it. Don't if you don't. I'm not here to force you to do anything against your will. I wouldn't want to do that, right? So if you hated it, leave and never come back, which is probably not something any YouTuber should ever say. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, be good, everybody, and we will see you later.